Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to my Ezra Bridger references video for the Ahsoka premiere with its first 2 episodes. In this video, we are going to be going specifically over Ezra Bridger with all the different Easter eggs, references, and things that we're going to be seeing throughout the overall season of how these first 2 episodes really set up for Ezra Bridger to make his return in the Star Wars franchise. There's a lot of different things here, and I'm going to be going over all of it and explaining it in this video. We also recently just came out with a brand new Thrawn video explaining different references, Easter eggs, and things that you might have missed specifically with Thrawn, and kind of like explaining everything going on with him in the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, so also check that video out as well. In this video, we are going to be taking a read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well, and if for whatever reason maybe you got this far into the video and didn't realize, there are spoilers ahead for Ahsoka in its first 2 episodes, so there is the spoiler warning. Eagle-eyed Star Wars fans of Ahsoka's premiere episodes were quick to spot an emotionally callback for Sabine Wren and Ezra Bridger. Star Wars Rebels, the animated show which ran from 2014 to 2018, did some serious world-building work for the Star Wars galaxy. Additionally, the animated show introduced tons of quality heroes and villains into the canon of Star Wars, and now Ahsoka on Disney Plus, having more or less been confirmed as this kind of de facto Rebels sequel and a continuation of the Rebels narrative and storyline just in live action and adding a few things here and there. A lot of fans have kind of called it a Rebels Season 5. It is poised to follow up some of that world building and check in on some of those fan favorite characters, bringing them back into a galaxy far, far away, continuing on their story, because unfortunately Star Wars Rebels did kind of end abruptly, having its 5th season actually cancelled, and that it wasn't ever necessarily really able to actually finish off its overall show. So for one to begin, I think probably the most obvious one, we also see it in the trailer of the Ahsoka show, is Sabine looking at a hologram recording of Ezra Bridger. This hologram recording was made for whatever reason and had been made before he vanished into those unknown regions. We had also kind of explained that in my Thrawn video breakdown here on the channel of like that whole like new galaxy that's being introduced into the Star Wars universe of things, which is a first time for everything, I guess, type of thing scenario. It's huge and it has a lot to do with what we're going to be seeing going forward in the Star Wars franchise. It's very exciting. Anyway, we see this hologram recording that he had made before he went missing and before that Battle of Lothal and everything with that. I do believe that to be very straightforward. Now, one thing that we also see established in these first 2 Ahsoka episodes with its premiere is that it feels very established that everybody thinks that, well, both Ezra Bridger and Thrawn are actually dead. As that being the unfortunate truth, this is just what people have kind of come to at this point in the Star Wars canon and then the Star Wars timeline. Seeing that the Mandoverse is where the Ahsoka show is taking place in the Star Wars franchise, it's been about 10 years since the events of the Star Wars Rebels finale with Season 4, so that there being said, about 10 years since the events of Thrawn and Ezra like going missing, or in that case actually like dying, as a lot of Star Wars characters like Hera Syndulla we specifically say to Ahsoka, and has also like been thinking it the entire time. We can presume the same for Sabine Wren as well, but we can also keep in mind that these characters are hopeful. Like, it's not necessarily confirmed, and I think that if for anything, Sabine Wren is the more hopeful one out of like anybody, but still has those many doubts that like, yeah, Ezra and Thrawn, they're probably dead for anything. I really believe that to be just one of those things of that, just like that's where the characters are standing at this point, as just kind of like a standing point of like what the situation kind of looks like, and that's what it looks like. Another more minor detail of Ezra Bridger that we see in the Ahsoka premiere, especially with episode 1, is that Sabine does take over like his home, like that little tower, which is the communications tower of Lothal. In the season premiere of Ahsoka, during a moment of set inside the communications tower on Lothal, now being used as Sabine Wren's living space and like as her home now, fans had caught something specific that could be considered quite heartbreaking to a point as well. In Sabine's apartment, on a shelf next to her bed, sat Ezra's old repainted Imperial Scout Trooper helmet that he had often wore in the Star Wars Rebels animated show, which is a really cool callback and really neat to see this like in live action. I really wonder if we'll actually see him wearing this, especially when he does return. I'm very prominent and very hopeful that he will return. It's just a matter of when, where, why type of scenario, and I say this because while Thrawn's clearly alive throughout the trailers and marketing and promoting materials for the Ahsoka show, and when these 2 characters went missing, they went missing together at the end of Star Wars Rebels. Although I believe, and I'll say one like common misconception I think that we will see for when Thrawn is revealed, is that it will be revealed revealed that Thrawn and Ezra aren't actually together and that they've like split off and branched off. I mean, 10 years is a long time to like be stuck together, so that's kind of my theory on that. Anyway, as I had mentioned, Ezra was lost to someplace very far away in another distant galaxy, as we learn in episode 2, more specifically during the events of the Star Wars Rebels series finale, when he sent himself and Grand Admiral Thrawn into hyperspace by the way of a Purrgil, these giant space whale-like creatures that we also saw in The Mandalorian Season 3. They're very elusive and not much is known about these creatures, at least in live action. We see them in episode 2 of Ahsoka for a very brief moment when Baylan Skoll looks up into the sky on the planet of Seotis, but other than that, that's just about all that we have with the Purrgils. They also play quite a very significant role throughout the Rebels animated show, so I'm very fingers crossed that they will appear again, more prominently at least, in the Ahsoka show. It'd be so cool to see these creatures in live action, which I do believe we will, seeing that we saw them in the trailer for the Ahsoka show as well. Anyway, Sabine has clearly held this memory of her close friend to her heart, given that she's kept the Scout Trooper helmet by her bedside for so many years after Ezra's goodbye at the end of Rebels. So really just alone in these first 2 episodes, not only has Ahsoka brought back Sabine Wren, but also reintroduced Hera Syndulla, now a respected New Republic general, and her droid Chopper as well. This all comes with this intriguing plotline concerning the re-emergence of Thrawn, and Clancy Brown even reprised his role as Ryder Izardi that we saw in episode 1 of Ahsoka. To be honest, while I don't think it's necessarily like a lot to do for these first 2 episodes for into regards of Ezra Bridger, it's better than something rather than nothing type of scenario. And quite honestly, if I'm being honest, I think that this is more like information or different references and Easter eggs that they gave us pointing towards Ezra Bridger in these first 2 Ahsoka episodes. It's also kind of just recapping those things that we saw towards the end of Rebels as well, paying homage to that as a simple thing. But as I had also mentioned towards the beginning of this video, is that presumably Ezra will, fingers crossed, appear in the flesh at some point in the show's 8-episode run. Now, it's not something that's necessarily confirmed, but like I had been discussing earlier on, is that seeing that Thrawn's well and alive, why couldn't Ezra Bridger also be well and alive as well? Also to mention that Hera's famous VCX-100 light fighter, the Ghost, has very much confirmed to be making its first up-close and personal live-action debut in the show as well. I feel like that it's going to be coming very full circle. Like, why are you going to have all of these other like different Rebels characters coming into live action and having them in the Ahsoka show, but not having Ezra Bridger type of thing? I also, and fingers crossed, that we'll have Agent Kallus and Zeb, at least a cameo at the very least of these 2 characters. We also saw Zeb in The Mandalorian Season 3, but I would love to see Agent Kallus and kind of like what he's been up to here as well. And if this here wasn't enough already, merchandise has revealed that Hera's son, Jacen Syndulla from the epilogue of Rebels, has a role in Ahsoka as well. So as I had mentioned, clearly there's absolutely no shortage of characters and details from Star Wars Rebels that they're pulling and bringing back into Ahsoka, something which will surely delight Star Wars fans like you and I to no end. The next episode of Ahsoka, episode 3, is going to be coming out on Tuesday, August 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, I'll have a preview video and a breakdown video for that episode as well here on the channel, so all the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're also discussing and talking about all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel, so if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button and join us here today, guys. This here all being said, I want to know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What do you guys think here about Ezra Bridger so far in the Ahsoka show? He hasn't 100% like been revealed necessarily, or at least like in the flesh, but soon we will hopefully see it. So let me know what you guys want to see in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. May the Force be with you as always. Have a great one, guys. Peace out.